I'm Sandra, and I'm 37 years old. My husband, Jack, and I were hosting a party at our house to welcome my brother-in-law, Luke, who had just come home after spending 5 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Yes, prison, but before you judge, let me tell you, Luke was innocent. He got caught up in something he had nothing to do with. It took 5 long years to prove his innocence and get him released. We were so happy to have him back. The party was lively, and everyone was enjoying themselves. Luke was catching up with everyone and telling stories about his time in prison. He and my daughter, Emma, had a special bond before all this mess started. We all laughed, ate good food, and enjoyed being together. It was a wonderful time for our family, and my heart felt warm. After the party, things seemed normal again. We were just glad to have Luke back, happy and healthy after everything he'd been through. But that good feeling didn't last long. A couple of days after the party, I was reading in the living room when Emma burst in, looking scared and angry. I quickly put my book down and rushed to her side. "Emma, what's wrong? You look really scared." "What happened?" I asked, concerned. Tears were rolling down Emma's face as she tried to catch her breath. "Mom, I found something. There's a camera hidden in one of my plants," she said. My heart skipped a beat. A hidden camera in my daughter's room. It made me furious, but I had to stay calm for her. We hurried to her room, and there it was, tucked among the leaves of her favorite plant, a tiny camera spying on her. How long had it been there? I felt a mix of disgust, fear, and anger. I called Jack right away, my voice shaky as I told him the shocking news. "Jack, you won't believe it. There's a hidden camera in Emma's room. We need to act fast." Jack was both worried and angry. "I'm coming over, Sandra. We're not letting this go. Our daughter deserves her privacy, and whoever did this will pay for it." While we waited for Jack, Emma clung to me, her tears soaking my shirt. She blamed herself for not noticing the camera earlier, but I reassured her that it wasn't her fault. I promised to help her through this unsettling situation. When Jack arrived, he looked as upset as I felt. We carefully checked the camera, looking for any clues about who might have done this. It was a huge violation of our trust, and we were determined to find the person responsible. We needed to protect our family and restore the peace we had worked so hard to build. If there was one hidden camera in Emma's room, who knew how many more might be hiding in our house? "Don't worry, Emma, we won't stop until we find out who did this," I said, trying to comfort her. "Thanks, Mom. Can I sleep in the guest room? I don't feel safe in my room right now, and I'm really tired," Emma asked. "Of course, sweetie, do what you need to feel safe. I'm so sorry this happened," I replied softly. Emma went to the guest room, likely wanting some space after her privacy was violated. I couldn't stop thinking about who could have done this. We decided to look through the camera's footage and gather any evidence we could, even if it meant involving the authorities. No one messes with our family like this. As shaken as I was, I felt better knowing Jack and I were in this together. We sat down in the quiet living room, the seriousness of the situation heavy on our minds. We tried to figure out who could have planted the camera in Emma's room, and the name that kept coming up was Luke. I hesitated but then said, "The timing's too suspicious. The camera was probably planted during the party, and who had the chance to do that? Luke." "Sandra, you can't think Luke would do something like this. He's had his problems, but he's not a creep." "He's my brother," Jack argued. I understood Jack's loyalty, but I couldn't ignore the signs pointing to Luke. I took a deep breath and said, "I know it's hard to consider, but we have to face the facts. Luke spent a lot of time with Emma at the party. He may have had an interest in her. People change after going through something like prison. Our priority is to protect our daughter, even if it means questioning those closest to us." Jack was torn, but eventually, he nodded. "I don't want to believe it, Sandra, but you're right. The timing and everything point to him. We have to find out the truth for Emma's sake." The thought of confronting Luke about this betrayal was tough, but we knew it was necessary. Our daughter's safety and our peace depended on it. We promised to handle it carefully and find the truth, no matter what. Days passed, and Jack was torn between loyalty to his brother, Luke, and the growing doubt in his mind. The tension was putting a strain on our relationship with Luke, and it cast a shadow over our family as we struggled with uncertainty. I started coming up with a plan, risky, but it felt like the only way to find out the truth. I shared my idea with Jack, suggesting that having another family gathering might be the key to catching the person who did this. "Think about it, Jack. Whoever put the camera there might try to take it back during another family event. This gathering, meant to bring us together, could give us the chance to catch them," I explained. Jack hesitated, still struggling with his loyalty to his brother and the need to figure out the truth. But as I stressed the urgency of the situation, he agreed that we should try this option before involving the authorities. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was necessary to protect our family and feel safe again. I called Emily, Luke's wife, to suggest the idea of another family gathering. "Hey, Emily, we were thinking about having another family get-together. Would you and Luke be free to join us?" I asked. Emily was surprisingly enthusiastic. She eagerly agreed, saying how excited she was for another gathering. I thought it was a little odd since she was usually more reserved, but I brushed it off, thinking she was just happy for family time. With everything planned, Jack and I got ready for the event. Our home was filled with a mix of excitement and tension. We checked every corner for any signs of someone sneaking around, trying to make sure everything seemed normal while secretly preparing to catch the person responsible. The stakes were high, and as the day of the gathering got closer, I felt a mix of nerves and determination. We were stepping into uncharted territory, but we were ready to do whatever it took to keep our daughter safe. When the day arrived, our home was buzzing with familiar faces again. Everyone seemed excited, but underneath, there was still a lot of tension. Uncle Luke, as charming as ever, greeted everyone warmly, but Jack and I couldn't shake our doubts. Those suspicions were still hanging over us. To keep Emma safe, we made the tough decision to have her stay with a friend for a sleepover, not telling her about our concerns. With her out of the house, we could focus more on watching anyone who might get near her room. As the party started, there was laughter and chatter, but Jack and I were more focused on watching for any signs of trouble. We kept our eyes open, ready to protect our family no matter what. The party was in full swing, with music and dancing filling the house, but beneath the fun, we were ready to find out the truth. I couldn't shake off Emily's strange behavior. She kept excusing herself, rushing off to the bathroom with unusual urgency. My instincts told me something was off, and I had this nagging feeling that I needed to find out what was really going on. When Emily headed toward the bathroom again, I decided to quietly follow her, but instead of going into the bathroom, she turned and entered Emma's room. Panic flooded through me, and I knew I had to confront her. I stepped forward and called out her name, a mix of accusation and concern in my voice. "Emily, what are you doing in Emma's room?" Startled, Emily turned around, her eyes wide, as if she was looking for an escape, but there was no escaping the truth. The air between us thickened, heavy with tension. "I asked you a question, Emily. What are you doing in my daughter's room?" Tears welled up in Emily's eyes as she stammered. "I was just looking for Emma. I was surprised she wasn't with us for the party." "You were going through her drawers," I said firmly, pointing at the drawer she was still holding open. Emily looked down, realizing her hands were still in the drawer she had been searching. I can explain." "Save it." The person we never expected, the one we had defended, had betrayed our trust. I motioned for Jack to join me, and he rushed over, assuming we had caught Luke in Emma's room. But his face turned to shock when he saw it was Emily. "You planted that camera, didn't you?" "Why, Emily? Why would you do something like this?" Jack asked, his voice full of anger and hurt. Without hesitation, Jack called Luke into Emma's room. His tone was serious, and Luke quickly joined us, confusion all over his face. When Luke entered the room and saw Emily in tears, his expression faltered. Before anyone could say anything, Jack quietly closed the door, cutting off the noise from the party. I took a deep breath, steadying myself before I spoke. I told Luke everything, how we found the camera in Emma's room, how it violated her privacy and shattered our trust. We planned this gathering to catch whoever put the camera there, and honestly, Luke, we thought it might be you. "I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have doubted you, especially after everything you've been through," Jack said, regret in his voice. "But it was mostly me who accused you, Luke. I'm really sorry. When we found Emily here, I realized you weren't involved." Luke's face was full of confusion as he looked from Jack to me and then to Emily. He turned to Emily, his voice shaking with disbelief. "Emily, why were you in Emma's room? What's going on?" "We caught Emily going through Emma's things. She's the one who planted the camera. Now that everyone's here, Emily, you need to explain yourself. Why would you do this?" Emily looked around the room, searching for someone to back her up, but Luke was just as confused as the rest of us. He couldn't understand why she'd do something like this to her own family. Okay, you got me," Emily admitted, her voice shaking. "Yes, I planted the camera in Emma's room. I was just coming to take it back." "We already know that. We caught you. We want to know why," Jack pressed. Because I'm jealous, Emily admitted, her voice breaking. Her confession hung in the air, revealing the jealousy she had felt toward Emma. She explained, with a mix of shame and frustration, that she had grown jealous when she saw how much time Luke and Emma were spending together during the last family gathering. She couldn't understand what made Emma so special and why Luke paid so much attention to her. Luke sat there, clearly torn, trying to make sense of Lily's actions. His voice was defensive, but also filled with concern. Lily, you know how much I care about Emma. But it's not in some weird way. I'm her uncle, and that's important to me. I just wanted to make sure she's okay. It's all out of love and family concern, nothing more. Lily shot back, her jealousy obvious. But why were you always praising Emma? I couldn't help but wonder, what's so special about her? Luke's frustration showed as he tried to explain. So now I'm not allowed to be proud of my niece? Lily, it's just that, being proud of my family. I'm not picking favorites. I care about all of you, but Emma is special to me too. I didn't think you'd take it this way. Turning to Lily, I asked the question that had been on my mind. What were you hoping to find by planting the camera? What did you think you'd uncover? Lily's voice cracked as she admitted, I just wanted to see how Emma lives. Maybe if I understood her better, acted like her, I'd get the same attention from you, Luke. I just wanted to feel valued like she does. Luke was clearly appalled, his disbelief growing. You're jealous of a teenager? That's messed up, Lily. The room fell silent, the weight of the situation hanging in the air. Finally, Jack made the decision to end the party. Good call, I agreed. We didn't need any more awkwardness, especially with everything we had just uncovered. After everyone left, it was just Jack and me, dealing with the aftermath of Lily's betrayal. I was furious and didn't hold back. Who does that? Who plants a camera in their niece's room? That's just sick. Luke looked completely lost, disappointment clouding his face. It was clear he couldn't believe what his wife had done. I couldn't blame him. If my partner had acted like that, I'd be just as stunned. The following day, when Emma came back, I had to tell her the truth. My heart broke as I watched tears fill her eyes when I explained the violation of her privacy. The poor girl was devastated, unable to fathom how someone in our own family could do something so awful. Mom, I never thought this would happen, especially from Lily, she said, her voice filled with disbelief. I know, sweetheart. It's hard to believe, I said, shaking my head. But she really crossed a line with you. Holding Emma close as she cried, I made a promise to her. We're going to fight back. Pressing charges is just the first step. Lily needs to face the consequences of her actions, and we're going to make sure she does. Through her tears, Emma asked, But Mom, how's Uncle Luke doing? I sighed, feeling the weight of everything that had happened. Honestly, he's struggling. He's trying to come to terms with what Lily's done, and it's tough for him. It's hard for him to celebrate his freedom when everything has changed. Do you think they're getting a divorce? She asked quietly. I don't know, sweetie. I wish I had an answer. But right now, we have to focus on you, on your safety. We're getting a restraining order against Lily so she won't come near you again. And we're pressing charges. Luke might be hurting, but this betrayal has created a rift that will be hard to repair. Emma whispered, I hate what she did. But I'm glad we're doing something about it. Me too, I said. We're going to rebuild. It's going to be tough, but we'll get through it, together. We just have to stick with the people who truly care about us. The road ahead was uncertain, but I knew we were strong enough to face whatever came our way. Our family's love was our strength, and we would find a way to move forward, no matter how difficult the journey might be.